Mr. Loy.
Mr. Davis.
How are you, my friend?
All right, how are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Oh, yeah?
And as are you.
That's legit.
No Friday Night Lights this week, huh?
Oh, she's there.
Oh,
It's Matilda's weekend, though. Or Michelle's week, should I say. We do Friday to Friday. So she is on her way there. And then chances are she'll stop at my house afterwards. So
you going to the game tomorrow? Or is it an away game?
for what? Penn State? No, it's a home game, but I'm not going to that.
No.
I mean, once you go to the whiteout game, there's no other game. It was tense.
That's the one to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. That and the fact that, you know, people I work with, they're all Penn State grads. This one guy, Chuck Mazzetti, he's I mean, he probably went there in the 60s or whatever, right? Maybe the 70s. But him and his frat brothers all do a reunion at the white game. So their tailgating was off the chain. Like 2 tenderloins on the grill, fired up, bacon wrapped asparagus, shrimp, lobster tail. They were all drinking, of course, but not me.
5-star.
Like, I was like, this is so how many people go to a tailgating and get filet and lobster tail?
And bacon wrapped asparagus.
And bacon wrapped asparagus to boot. And it was done nicely.
Impressive.
So, it was. The game was impressive. I mean, 110,000 people, dude, in synchronicity.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It's crazy. Definitely, if anybody has an opportunity to do that, and it doesn't even need to be Penn State. Like, there's probably a couple other college games you can pick. Like, probably, you know, Florida State might be a good one if they were both doing well. Auburn, Alabama is probably a good one to get to. Alabama,
Vanderbilt.
Clemson, if they paid each other.
West Virginia.
I've been to West Virginia, Penn State in Morgantown. That was a game. That was back in '88. That was a spectacle. Because, like, West Virginia never beats them. And not only did they beat them that year, they throttled them. So the goalpost came down and got carried to the bar section called Sunnyside. And then they had a bonfire.
Nice.
So it was
epic.
And I was in my heyday then, right? So, like,
yeah,
you know, that was all my glory.
About it.
Debaucherous.
Yeah.
That's all I could say.
Yeah.
My dad was there.
Thursday night or no?
What's that?
Did you watch the game Thursday?
I watched the first half or so, maybe a little bit into the third quarter.
Same. I became very disinterested after, like, the third quarter started. It was a very boring game.
Yeah. After McCaffrey went down, I was kind of out of it. I saw Darnold drop the ball twice, though. So, you know, hence my comment. He's got a little case of the Danny's.
Danny's gotten better. Danny will never escape his rookie year fumbleitis, though.
One game, bro. One game. He didn't have a fumble.
Game. No, I'm talking probably 9 straight games. He has really improved. Starting in, like,
are you sure about that?
I'm positive. Starting in week 10 of last year, he completely revamped his ability to hold on to the balls. Has he had turnovers? Sure, but not at a rate that exceeds any other quarterback in the league. There he is.
I'm gonna have to go game by game because I don't believe you.
You can. That's fine.
He had a really
You're
good
muted.
game last Thursday night. I'll say that.
Yeah.
There we go. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. Just gotta race across town.
I know the feeling. Been there many, many times.
Did you guys like that extra point segment I just kind of threw together from just edited it out a little conversation, kind of shortened the main pod, and then I put it as an extra. You guys didn't even notice I did that, did you?
I did not.
I didn't listen to it though. And I'm slacking too with getting the videos up. Do you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
All right.
Give me 1 second. All right, I'm ready when you guys are.
Anytime. Okay, so Atticus and I were just talking about Daniel Jones a little bit. First off, welcome to 33, the Latrobe episode, if you would.
34. 34.
34?
Yeah, 33 was on 33 was the last one.
Damn it. I've been waiting to say the Latrobe episode for a while. I don't know if anybody gets that reference, but
No.
Latrobe is where they make Rolling Rock, and Rolling Rock has number 33 on their bottles.
Yeah.
I still don't know why, but I went with it.
Missed the opportunity, brother. Oh God.
Yeah. You look like a complete douche nozzle with your pinky up like that. Out of that cup, by the way.
Oh, fuck.
Not just the tip of it, not just the tip of the douche nozzle, the complete douche nozzle.
The whole douche nozzle. I paid a pretty penny for these cups too. I had to get them imported from Ohio. So
They weren't on some
Found them at
rebate
any
sale.
yard sale.
I figured you could get those thrown in when you buy a set of knives.
actually it's they're from B-Dub. So I think it's like for $15 you get there was like 3 cups. You get one of the cups, like 6 wings and some fries or something like that. So
Okay.
But living in Florida, they were like seriously, they were only at like 25 B-Dubs across all of Ohio. So I ended up paying like $50 to have
Whatever you paid, it was too much.
Hey, you know what?
Too much.
Blue Gatorade. Yum. All right.
Does piss taste better out of that cup?
I mean, you know how hard it is to find sugar-free beverages? There's like nothing.
Can somebody see me? No. Don't look at me.
You're live.
Wow, you're live. Yeah, you're live on camera.
Too late for that. We're gonna edit that back, get a zoom in shot.
Hi,
Aw.
friends.
Hi.
How they enjoying school?
Oh, the kids?
Yeah.
Well, that's not my daughter.
Oh, I was gonna say she looks different. I was like, man, you sent him to 7th grade for 2 weeks.
Heart
Oh
for
my.
whoever said that. Heart for whoever said that.
How do they like school? They said.
I don't remember school.
Not
I'm
they.
old.
Whatever's in that cup. Oh boy. Mm, mm.
That's hilarious.
I tried.
So I got completely sidetracked right there. I don't even know where we were. So
We're just gonna start over.
we'll do the little Wayne's World going back in time. Episode 34, gentlemen. At minute mark, probably we've been probably going at this for a while. Probably 5 or 6 minutes. Anyway, Atticus and I were just talking about Daniel Jones. And, and I think that this conversation was coming based on Mumar's post earlier on the Facebook page. And we'll get into it a little bit. After 2 weeks of football, he's the second highest PFF rated quarterback in the league, right? And then I mentioned Thursday night's game, how Sam Darnold had a little case of the handy dandies and, dropped the ball a couple times. And he said that he's been pretty good since about mid of last season. Is that correct?
That's accurate.
Okay. Week 13, he had 3 fumbles.
Lost one.
Doesn't
One
matter. He
was
still
lost.
dropped the ball.
But they recovered the ball.
But he still
It
dropped the
didn't matter.
ball. It's
How
not
many-
about getting it
Hold
back.
on a
It's
second.
about dropping.
How many turnovers did he commit since the middle of last season? That's the question.
Hold on.
We're talking
being,
about a span of 10 games.
this being Daniel Jones.
5.
We're talking about.
5. And he missed 2 games. So 5. No, wait. 1,
Try 4.
5.
Okay, you want to give him 5? Let's give him 5. So if you have 10 games and you handle the ball every time and you turn the ball over 5 times in those 10 games, is that a really bad number?
I mean,
So,
hey, two
It's
fewer
not a bad
turnovers.
number. I'll give you that.
2 fewer turnovers, and he's Baker Mayfield. So, that's the standard we're running with.
I'll
The only
give you
thing I'm
that.
saying
It's-
is he'll never escape what happened in his first season. He was a turnover machine in his first season. Even
So-
though he's improved significantly in that area, he'll just never live it down. That's all.
has he truly improved because the ball happens to bounce the right way, though? That's all I'm saying. Like, he's still putting the ball on the ground too much. I mean, in 2 games, he's got 1 fumble and 1 fumble lost. So, he's on pace for, 8 fumbles lost. That's not good. He's got to hold on to the ball, right?
I
And,
agree.
that's
I
the
agree
key
100%.
to his
The
own
only thing I'm
success.
saying is you can knock him and he deserves it, but the improvement, he's cut it down like a third of what it's been.
But he hasn't cut down dropping the ball. He's only cut
So-
down the
So
loss
here's
of the
what I'll
ball.
say about that. The fumble that he had this year, the only thing I'm mad about with that fumble was it was the worst possible time. Like, the kid was carrying the team and trying real hard to make something happen. And he fumbled the ball.
That worked out real well for Carson in Philly. Just saying. You know
Listen,
what I mean?
I agree. He needs to stop dropping a ball. I ain't his public defender. I'm just saying there's been significant improvement from his rookie season. That's
So I'll
all.
say this. Daniel Jones looks as if he is your quarterback. He's your franchise. If he can stop dropping the ball. because they're not going to be
He
lucky
could
all
drop
the
the
time.
ball, just win the game.
Yeah,
Because if he would have won that game, who would be talking about that?
probably nobody.
Nobody. Nobody. Just saying.
So that took
That
us
being
to the
said, when we-
exhilarating Thursday night game because
Oh,
I said
God.
Darnold had
The
a case of the
snooze
handy
fest?
dannies. Chris, did you watch that?
I would rather watch
No,
the
I
Browns play the 2018 Browns play on repeat for days than to watch that Thursday night game again.
you know what? I'll take that. I will say, so I watched the first half and then Liesel's really into Big Brother. So I allowed her to change it to that. So we watched.
allowed
You allowed her?
Holy shit. She must not be home.
Oh, she's home. She
She can't,
asked.
she's out of earshot. She can't hear that.
Okay, so I worded that wrong. She asked if she could, and I said, yeah, that's fine. So that whatever, guys. Anyway, so we watched Big Brother. My favorite, Big Z, is still in it. They sent home that other guy whose name I can't think of off the top of my head. But so and then we came back in and we watched like the second half of the third. So I saw Christian McCaffrey get injured. I did not see.
That's a tough loss.
Yeah, I did not see the first round draft Horn. I didn't see JC Horn get injured. I didn't see that.
I didn't either.
Non-contact injury. I saw it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. He just like broke his foot,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
rough.
Broken?
So I mean, this victory cost them a lot. I will say the final score was what, 9-28 or something like that.
Something like that.
Loy, I mean,
It
we
wasn't
said
even that
what?
close though.
Yeah, I know. We said 14 to
30.
30 or 10 to 30 to 10. So we were right
Like
there.
we were playing along. We knew it was going to be a blowout, 3 touchdown game.
Yeah. So there really wasn't a lot to talk about that game. It kind of went in as expected. No one was really super excited about it. I do like Carolina's uniforms. I think they have one of the better color combos in the league. But other than that, not much to talk about. So I kind of want to spin it with the Christian McCaffrey injury.
Yeah.
And I know Atticus Fantasy is not your strong, so you don't really play with us, but I do want to turn it. So in our league, for those who don't know, I drafted Kelsey with the number 1 overall pick. And the chatter in the, at the time was like, oh, that's ballsy and blah, blah, blah. And now that, but now that we're here, so let's look at the top 5 running backs.
Well, let's look at the top 5 picks of the draft, right? Like we could do that. I'm pretty sure McCaffrey went second.
He did. Well, and that's my point. That's what I'm getting to. So if you take the top 5 running backs, like let's just hold Kelsey out of it for a second. Let's just say I took one of who people consider the top 5, right? So that's what? That's Saquon, Zeke, Kamara, McCaffrey, and why can't the guy on the Titans? Why can't Henry? So would you agree that those are probably the top 5 running backs?
Who'd
I
you say?
would.
I said for fantasy purposes, Saquon, Zeke, McCaffrey, Henry, and Kamara.
Well, don't
What
forget
about Miles
Cook.
Sanders? He's
Cook.
nothing to sneeze at.
Dalvin Cook, Minnesota.
Okay, Cook, fair.
All right.
Okay, so but
Let me recap before you go on. Let me just recap the draft top 10 picks. Right.
Okay.
First was Kelsey with your pick.
Mhm.
Second pick was Christian McCaffrey. Third pick was Dalvin Cook. Fourth pick was Alvin Kamara. That was me. Fifth pick was Derrick Henry. Sixth pick, Saquon Barkley. 7, Zeke. And then Adams, Hill, and Diggs to round out the top 10. So if we just go running backs, McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara, Henry, Barkley, top 5.
Okay, so out of those top 5, so what's Kamara doing right now? What's
He's
he
doing
averaging?
okay. I mean,
Okay.
we're 2 games in. He kind of got stymied by who blew them out? Oh, Carolina stopped.
Carolina, yeah.
Yeah. So he had a good first week. He had a poor second week.
So okay, so and again, I know we're 2 games in, but the whole point of where I'm trying to go with this is I was kind of given some flack for taking Kelsey, who's averaging about 25 points a game right now. McCaffrey just got injured. And this is why I stayed away from a lot of the running backs. We don't know. Like, there's a lot of question marks that were around them. McCaffrey got injured. Saquon hasn't really taken off. Zeke hasn't really taken off. Dalvin Cook, how's he doing? I assume he's doing okay. I know that the Vikings haven't won a lot, but they put up some points. They're putting up like 28 to 35 points a game. My point is, going back in just 2 weeks in, and I get it's a long season, blah, 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 blah. Do you think I still messed up with the Kelsey pick?
No, right? Because if you look at the top running back scorers right now, right? And I don't even know without looking at your team if you have one of these guys, right? But the top fantasy scorers currently: Derrick Henry 1, Aaron Jones 2, Nick Chubb 3, Christian McCaffrey 4, Dalvin Cook 5. Right?
Yeah.
If you look at where would Kelsey rank in there? Kelsey is probably ranking 2. Only behind Derrick Henry. And that includes a 56-point week.
Right.
You know? So, no. I mean, kudos to, what was his name?
Andy. Thank you, Andy. Yeah, took his advice.
Kudos to Andy, who we interviewed for a couple weeks ago. Runs his own fantasy football website.
RateMyLeague.com.
RankMyLeague.com. Check it out.
Yeah, rate
We'll
my league.
plug there for free. We're not getting paid for that, but we should. Anyway, I mean, it was in that conversation that you and I had some sidebar conversation, like maybe the strategy of taking Kelsey number 1 overall isn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know, I did it in my other league, right? Like, I didn't have the number 1 pick, but he happened to why he was still there at the number 10 pick in a 2-quarterback league, right? So, you know, Josh Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar were already off the table as well. So he's sitting there at 10, and I took him. I was like, I got to.
Yeah, well, and again, the thing that stuck with me and what kind of ultimately, because I did continue to go back and forth between him and McCaffrey, but it was just, I think the statistic he said during that podcast was like 95% of teams that made the championship game last year had Kelsey at tight end. So, I mean, you know, and I ended up with a stronger receiving core than I thought I was going to, but I don't want to go too far into it because I know Atticus is here and he doesn't have a dog in the fight. So it's like, you know, I don't want to completely cut him out, but it's just a point I was thinking about when he got injured, because I tend to stay away from people who have injuries, like big injuries the year before. Even to the detriment of the pick, I will go with someone who isn't coming off of a big injury. That's why I ended up taking Chase over OBJ, even though I'm a big Browns fan. Just because, you know, we don't know. OBJ is activated this way, by the way, this week. So that's something to talk about a little bit later. But yeah.
Well, you lost Jarvis Landry, didn't you?
Yeah, he just went on IR with a sprain, I believe.
Yeah, you need him.
So is OBJ's active?
Yeah, OBJ is active. He's
Better be.
See what happens.
So it'll be interesting because, and if you guys don't mind, I'm going to talk about that for a minute. Why don't we'll start off with the Bears at Browns. Browns are a touchdown favorite. 45.5 is the under over. So it's interesting because I think receiver to receiver, OBJ is better than Landry, right? Like just straight up, you know, high ceiling and everything. I think OBJ is the better receiver, but Landry has way better chemistry for whatever reason with Baker Mayfield. So it'll be interesting to see how that works because they've been playing without OBJ. Theoretically, the offense shouldn't need to change that much, right? Theoretically, it should be about the same as it would be because instead of Landry being your number 1, OBJ is now your number 1, and everyone else is still healthy. It'll be interesting to see though, because again, and we'll see. Baker Mayfield's now had, you know, we were just talking about Daniel Jones having 10 games. Baker Mayfield has, you know, it's got to be because I think OBJ went out week 7 last year. So we're getting close to, yeah, right around 10 games without him. It'll be interesting to see for me if Baker Mayfield reverts back to what he was doing last year before OBJ got injured. And that's where it felt like, everything else be damned. I'm going to throw it to OBJ. He can have 16. The entire defense could be covering him, and I'm going to try and thread that needle. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this will be a good litmus test for how much Baker Mayfield's matured as a quarterback. On the other side of the coin, the Bears are going to be starting Justin Fields, which makes me a little bit nervous just because when you have a rookie quarterback that can run,
and no film on him.
Yeah. What?
No film.
Yeah. No film. Exactly. So that, things can happen. So it makes me a little nervous. I'd feel better if they had Dalton because we have, however many years of film on Dalton, but they're going to be starting Fields. Hopefully our defense can kind of, get them to make some rookie mistakes, but I'll kick it over to you guys. What do you think about this matchup coming up?
I think that talking about the whole OBJ thing, I think that OBJ is definitely more talented as a receiver than Jarvis Landry. But I think Jarvis Landry is a much better fit into your offensive scheme and chemistry wise with the Browns. That doesn't take away from the value that OBJ has, because obviously anybody would love to have him on their team. But I think that you miss a step because of the consistency that Jarvis Landry brought to your receiving game. Him and Baker Mayfield played well together. It's hard to discount that. And I think that OBJ, just his presence, it kind of chimes this mental error in quarterbacks' heads that let me feed it to him, let me get it to him. You take more chances that you otherwise would not take. Don't get me wrong, OBJ in many cases could make that unbelievable catch. But I think sometimes it could be to your detriment because you don't want to force stuff where you don't need to. Rely on your running game. You've got a hell of a running back committee. You've got a great offensive line. I think if you guys run first, pass second, you could easily win this game, even with the mystery that Justin Field brings to it. Me personally, I never thought Matt Nagy was this offensive guru genius that the hype surrounding him has been for a couple of years. I think that he had a pretty good run when he first got there, but that primarily was on the heels of him having a really good defense. I don't think his offense was really lighting nothing up. And that's evidenced by the fact that his quarterback that they moved up to get passed on Patrick Mahomes is now the backup up in Buffalo. So over under, who gives a shit? The Browns are going to win this game because of their running game. And they're just a better overall team than the Bears, period.
So I don't think it's as easy, right? So the Browns are giving up 27 points a game. We're going to find out with Justin Fields because he's a different kind of quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. Granted, he's a rookie. There's no tape on him, and he's shown flashes of being pretty good, right? So we're going to see what kind of offense Matt Nagy can put behind Justin Fields against the defense that going into the season, I'll be the first to admit, I thought looked pretty stellar on paper, and granted they played Kansas City week 1, but still they're averaging 27 points against. The Bears are only giving up 17 points a game, right? So their defense is starting to play a little bit more like they did a couple years ago. Last year, they didn't have as good a defense as they typically did, but I think they had some injuries. So that being said, I think the Browns win the game. I don't know if they cover, right? I just don't. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than you expect. And almost like the first half last week, that was way closer than the Browns would have liked to have been in. And then they just pulled away at the end. They're not going to be able to pull away as strong. It's going to go into the fourth quarter, and it's going to be a play or two that really decide this football game, right? Whether it's a Justin Fields throws an interception, Maybe he fumbles the ball. Maybe it's OBJ along the sideline for a long pass to kind of seal the game. Who knows, right? Speaking of OBJ, though, like there's a lot of pressure being him slotted in number one. You know, he's coming off a significant injury, compiled on the fact that he's had significant injuries in his history. Like he broke his ankle, he's blew his knee, and then he's had hamstring issues, and he's had hand issues. So mental issues. So this is
he let women shit on him for a while, didn't he?
That's the Cleveland Steamer, bro.
There you go.
There you go.
I mean, that ties him to Cleveland more than anything else I've seen so far. But you know, what I would like to see is it'll be interesting because I will say before he got injured, and I wish I remember exactly what week the Dallas game was last year, but the way they played him in the Dallas game is what I would like to see.
Right.
You know, he's a distraction as far as, you know, something the defense has to focus on. But how did he only got one conventional wide receiver touchdown. The other one was a wide receiver pass from Jarvis, and then he had the 50 some odd yard run to basically ice that game. And I'm kind of excited for that possibility. And that's how I see OBJ fitting into this as opposed to like a standard number one receiver. It just sucks that now we're, you know, Jarvis is probably going to be out 4 to 6 weeks at least. So it sucks that for as much ballyhoo as there was about them playing together, we really haven't seen it consistently. Like since both of them have been on the Browns together, I want to say they played a grand total of 5 games together. I agree with Mike. I don't know that Cleveland will cover. I didn't think they were going to cover last week. And, you know, considering I was right, I said Cleveland would win by 10. That was probably the most disappointing 10-point victory I've ever seen. But yeah, I think Cleveland will win, but the Bears will cover 5-6 point game. We said 45.5. So to get to 45.5, that would be like what? That's 20. That's like a 20-24 game. I could see that. That seems about fair. So I'll say 26-21 Browns is where I'll go on that one.
Taking the points.
Do you know what the score was the last time your two teams met?
No, I don't. I'd have to look that up.
You got trounced 20-3, 2017.
Well, everyone trounced the Browns. That's the year. The Browns are so bad that year.
I just felt good saying that.
Just that year?
Okay. I went into a coma for 4 months with how bad they were. So
Kelly makes your way into the pod another time.
Oh, so hey, since Kelly's there, we want to talk about the Bengals at Steelers because Steelers are only getting 3 at home over the Bengals. That's just
no longer here, by the way.
Of the week this week. We'll just cover them real quick and then we'll kick it over to another team. But just since Kelly said something, what do you guys think about this game? Because I find that line real interesting. That essentially they're saying the odds makers are saying it's a toss up on a neutral field. The over under is 43.5. Bengals at Steelers -3. What do you guys think?
So I think it's going to be a dogfight is what I think. Right. And, you know, if you just look at rankings through 2 games, you know, they're almost identical. I think that the Steelers have them on by 2.5 points. Right. So that's where the 3-point spread comes from. But I haven't watched enough Cincinnati to make an accurate decision. You know, reading, you know, the box scores and checking, you know, how many rushing yards people are getting. You know, I think that, you know, we talk about Cleveland's running game. Cincinnati can run the ball too, you know, and you know, Pittsburgh's defense looked phenomenal in week 1.
They're hurt now, though.
They looked paltry in week 2. right? So that's big deal, right? And Joe Burrows looks like he didn't miss a beat with his knee injury. You know, he's throwing some picks though, right? He's thrown 3. You know, that's kind of a big deal. You know, we'll give him second year rookie itis, I guess, making some rookie mistakes. The NFL is a lot faster, right? And holes are tighter, lanes are more narrow, and he'll figure it out. Is this the week he does? I don't know. Pittsburgh always makes a lot of big plays on defense, man. They can always pick the ball, always. And that's what I see happening here. I see a late pick, right? Given either sealing the win or, setting the Steelers up for a field goal to win the game. I don't even think they cover the 3, right? I just don't.
What say you, Atticus, with Kelly lurking in the background?
She's gone. History teaches us that exactly what Mike just said is what, if you really don't know what's going to happen, you can rely on what you've seen with your own eyes for the past 20 years from the Bengals Steelers matchup. However, I think this game can go in the other direction. You've got Joe Burrows, who he is playing pretty good. He did have some picks. He didn't look like he was very polished, but I think the mistakes that he's making is just the rookie stuff that you go through. And remember, his rookie campaign was cut extremely short due to injury. So he didn't really get a chance to make those mistakes and learn from it and feel it. And it's one thing to know what's going to happen. It's another to do it and feel it and learn from it. And I think that he's going to go through those things, but he's going to consistently ascend in the right direction. Their running game is really good in Cincinnati. Their defense has been really solid. I think if Burrows was able to be a little smarter with the ball, some of these 2 games that they played, they would have looked a lot better as a team. So first week, second week is really hard to gauge a team by. I think a lot of this year, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, a lot of this season has to do with injuries, and not just injuries, but like the COVID restrictions that the league has. And this game is not affected with the COVID restrictions, but you got TJ Watt, who I think he pulled a hammy or his groin or something in that last game. Devin Bush and Joe Hayden were both injured. They may play. I don't know if they're going to play or not play, but they've got some injuries with some key players that could be a factor in this game. I would not be surprised if this game was decided on a pick or a fumble or special teams play, but I think the Bengals, and I might sleep on a couch tonight for this one, but I think they might win this game. I think they've got more going in their favor than the Steelers do. And they're home, whatever that means.
So you stole a little bit of my thunder there with your comments on Burrow, and I totally agree. Even though it's his second year in the league, he did have a short first season, so he doesn't have a full
Body of work.
He doesn't have a full season of work under his belt. So we're about halfway through last season as far as he's considered, experience wise. So he's still learning. This game is interesting to me because it's strength on strength, right? The Cincinnati offense has the potential to be fairly potent. Steelers have one of the best defenses in the league. I can't argue that either way. Where I think this game turns, though, is so even though Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have an injury designation and he should play in this game, I think the Cincinnati Bengals defense is better than the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, at least 2 games into the season. They haven't shown much of anything on offense in Pittsburgh yet this year. And I think Cincinnati's the Bengals defense is competent enough they're not going to get going by any large, unless there's the only way Pittsburgh puts up a lot of points is they have something like a like a special teams play, or they pick off Burrow a couple times on the right side of the 50. So the Steelers have a short field. Barring that, I think, assuming both sides play a clean game, I think Cincinnati has just enough firepower to eke this one out. And I will say they're going to upset the Steelers outright. And we'll take but I do agree with Lloyd. It's going to be a dogfight. I see something like 21-14, 17-10, somewhere in that range. The one last thing I would like to point out, because we brought up history. Last time these two teams played, the Steelers were, I believe, undefeated and took an L on Monday night to a backup quarterback. So we'll just point that out. This is one of those games, as much as like the Browns hate the Steelers and the Steelers hate, this is one of those games where I don't want to say, the records don't matter and all that, but it's just one of those games where anything can happen, because these two particular teams, they get more fired up to play each other than just about any other set of teams you'll see.
I think wasn't it the Bengals who did something highly insulting to the Steelers one year too, and they've been riding that wave ever since then? The Steelers, I think it was like a playoff game or something.
No, it wasn't a playoff, but there was a really bad blood game where what's that linebacker's name?
He kept getting suspended or something.
He went to the Raiders.
Perfect.
Yes, perfect.
Like he basically decapitated Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Brown,
and that was when Brown started his decline and got crazy until he started having dinner with Tom and Giselle.
Or more.
Yeah, these two teams have always kind of like more than any other two teams that, like, there's I've always thought the Steelers and the Ravens had a good rivalry, but that's because they were both good and meeting in the late in the playoffs for so long. Since that hasn't happened in a while, it's kind of cooled down a little bit. But Bengals Steelers, there just always seems to be like more bad blood in that game for whatever the reason than like any other game in the division.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I think the Bengals have just enough to pull out this win, at least from what I've seen so far. Steelers have a great defense, but until I see more of their offense, it's going to be real hard to see them winning games against what I consider even teams. So that wraps up that one. Let's go over to the Giants. They are a 3-point favorite at home over the Falcons. And the over-under, I think I saw, was like 47.5. Yeah, 47.5. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say the Giants win outright and cover on this game. And I'll even take the points. And simply, you guys kind of touched on it at the beginning. Danny Dimes has been playing better this year. I don't know. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'd say he's played cleaner football in 2 games this year than Matt Ryan has. And the Giants have a better defense, and the Falcons don't have any defense. So, I mean, the Falcons this year are starting to seem like if your team has a problem, the best way to fix it is just play the Atlanta Falcons. So I think this is the week that the Giants get off the schneid. I think they win, they cover. I'll say they win by like 5 or 6 points. It's still going to be high scoring because both teams do have some offensive weapons. But I see the Giants winning this one in a shootout. We'll say 37-32.
I'll go. We'll leave Atticus for last. Give him that courtesy. The Falcons don't have any defense. They're ranked 32nd. However, they are ranked 18th against the pass. So, and that is, if there was ever a week to see Saquon get fed a little bit more, it's probably this week, right? It's time to give Saquon the ball. It's time to take the retarders off. Let them fly, right? You got to let them go. You just have to. I think that if they can open up the run game, that's going to make Danny Dimes look even better, right? The flip side is the Giants don't have a good defense either, right? And I think their passing defense is actually ranked worse than Atlanta's. So not good, because Matt Ryan can still throw the ball for 400 yards a game. Um,
And he's got Pitts.
do I?
Big
and
target.
I think it's Gage isn't playing, but is that really a big deal? Right? Like if it was Ridley, I'd be like, ooh, Giants got lucky there. But you got Ridley and Pitts playing, so I kind of agree with Chris, right? Like I see a shootout. I see a good scoring game, right? I think that I'd like to believe that the Giants offense is being driven through RPOs, right? They get the run established and then let Danny Dimes do his thing, right? On RPOs. I don't know if they cover, right? Like Vegas knows what they're doing, and 3 points for the Giants at home, even though it's against Atlanta, like you would expect a 5.5 point spread, right? That's what I would expect to be clear. Like, okay, Giants are going to win this game, but Vegas is still trying to make some money, right? I think Vegas is trying to make some money by making it a toss-up, right? Because they maybe Atlanta squeaks by and gets a win. Maybe it is this week. I don't see, I see kind of similar to what I said with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, right? I see two potent offenses. I see a field goal or less, Danny Dimes has shown the ability, though. He can throw the ball. Sterling Sharp can catch it, and he can run to get them into field goal range late to win the game. So that's where I'm at. Whether or not I don't think. Again, I'm going to say they don't cover, but I think that I think it's the over.
I'll just say, I just want to throw this in there before we let Atticus take it, is the differences I see on the offense. I think offensive weapon to offensive weapon, they match up pretty well. The X factor is Danny Dimes can run and Matt Ryan can't. And that's why I think the Giants win by, 5-6 points. That's why I see that spread, because the Falcons don't look like they can stop anybody. And now they have to contend with a quarterback that can take off and run 80 yards on you. So that's the X factor. And that's why I see that larger margin of victory. Go ahead, Atticus.
By all accounts, the Giants should win this game, right? If you look at them on paper, I'm talking about the team as a whole. I'm not talking about any specific units, whether it be offense, defense, special team. I think overall, they're the better team, and they're playing at home this week. I think that there's a couple of factors that should be considered. Daniel Jones is playing much better than he has. Evan Ingram is likely going to be playing this week. He's been out. Saquon Barkley.
Negative. I'm sorry.
Well, I feel that way often too, Mike, to be perfectly honest with you, because Evan Ingram will have a great game and then drop the ball on the pass to seal the game. But I think he's got this renewed sense of vigor and commitment to play his very best. And when he's playing his very best, he's pretty damn good. So I think that there are a lot of storylines that would say these are the reasons why the Giants should win, and they should win by a touchdown or better. They should. But the Giants are also one of the only teams that I've seen perfecting the art of giving away a game. So I can just as easily see the Giants dominating almost away. 28-3 is something that we all know from the Falcons in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. I can see the Giants having a 28-3 lead going in, coming out into the third quarter and blowing the game on just being undisciplined, which we saw a lot of last week. We could see turnovers start to happen again. We could see, because both of these teams are desperate right now. Somebody's gonna win. Somebody gotta win the game, right? I could see the Atlanta Falcons coming in, and keep in mind, the last time we faced them was in a playoff game, and we destroyed them. I don't even remember the score, but it was embarrassing, the defeat that the Atlanta Falcons took. So they're probably a little chippy from that too. And the Giants can't stop nobody. It don't matter if you can stop them on third down. You can't stop them on fourth down. We have given up a fourth down conversion every time an opponent has tried a fourth down conversion. Every time. That's pretty pathetic. So I'm gonna say, while we should win, I won't be surprised if we lose. I don't even know if I can pick us to win this game. What's funny is I call into the local radio station. Well, not local to here because I live in Eagles country, but I call into the New York station and I said the same thing. This is a game we'll lose because we're supposed to win it. And until the Giants show me that they know how to win a game, I'm going to just sit there and enjoy the game and hope they win. But hope doesn't win games. Effort and good play does. So I don't know. I think the Falcons can take this game, as much as it pains me to say that. And it will be another long ride home.
So I'll just throw in one bonus prediction on this game. Negative Tony ends up with positive yardage by the end of it. So that's the one last prediction I'll throw out there.
Negative Tony.
I'll throw one more point because you mentioned Ingram. I think that Rudolph was the best pickup in the offseason for the Giants, solely because he's a proven commodity at tight end, and Danny Dimes needs that as a resource, right? Like having a quality tight end that can run the 5 to 10 yard slant or out is golden for a quarterback, because it's maybe it's 3 or 4 in your progression, but it's
Wait a
there.
minute. Don't forget his pass protection abilities.
Yeah.
He has been great supporting that offensive line. I mean, great. You see him knock Chase Young on his ass?
Yeah. No small
That's
feet.
a nice
either.
chip block.
No small feet. Go ahead, Chris.
So I'll give you guys a choice, because I'd be remiss if we did not talk Eagles at Cowboys on Monday night.
Not only would be remiss, you'd be fired from the podcast.
Right. So obviously that's the game. There are 2 other games I find particularly interesting, but we only usually talk about 5 games. So
There's only one to pick in my mind.
Chiefs Chargers.
Ooh.
now
There are 2.
I forgot about that one. That's not even
Bucks Rams.
We got Packers at Niners, and Bucks Rams was the other one. So I think we'll go Bucks Rams, and then we'll end on Cowboys Eagles. So the Bucks Rams. Let me scroll back up to it here.
We'll get to the others in the quick fire.
Yeah, we'll get them in the quick fire. It's just yeah.
That's your game of the week right there.
Yeah, so Bucks at Rams, and that's why I feel like this is the game of the week. It's going to be a fun game. I'm excited about this one. Buccaneers at Rams. Buccaneers are favored by 1.5 on the road. 55.5 is the over/under. So I mean, that says a lot that they're favored over one of the better defenses with a potent offense backing it up on the road. That's how high everyone is on TB12 and the fighting TB12s out of Tampa. And I just, there's something about this Rams team. I think they find a way to win this one. I can't even tell you specifically why I think that way. Like, I can't say, oh, well, Matt Stafford's going to do X, or, not Sam Darnold, Aaron Donald. He's going to go nuts. Like, I don't know specifically what it is, but there's just something about this Rams team. They seem to have a player step up when they need to. And again, I know we're only on week 3, but both weeks they've had like a different, last week was the Cooper Kupp show. The week before, they had some different people stepping up. I just think they find a way, because I'm not convinced the Buccaneers are invincible yet. Their defense is good, but people move the ball on them. They are susceptible to the big play, which with Stafford as your quarterback, that's their calling card. That's what Stafford's known for, is the big play. I think the Rams have some underrated speed on offense too, which will give the Buccaneers some problems. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to come down to probably who has the ball last. I just think the home crowd, that new stadium out there in LA, I just think it all comes together for the Rams. And for one night, they're going to beat the Super Bowl champions. What do you guys think?
I think that if you look at, and this is probably the same rationale that you used when you talked about the Ravens beating the Chiefs. When you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule, there's probably 2 games that you think, maybe 3, that they could lose. And you want to have the competitive nature of football. You don't want to see a team just winning, right? So that team who you think can beat them, you want to see a highly competitive game, even for them to take an L. Not that I care if the Buccaneers lose or win. I don't have a grudge against them. I don't care about them, right? But I think if there's a team that is matched up very nicely in terms of personnel and coaching, it certainly is the Rams. And I can't say that I would never say Stafford is a better quarterback than Brady or nothing like that, but he's a damn good quarterback. You know, he was just on a terrible team, which he almost ended up having a completely wasted career because of the Lions for years. So defensively, I think the Buccaneers have a better defense than the Rams, but I think the Rams still has a decent defense. But if there's a team that could beat them, and then the X factor is they're playing at SoFi Stadium, I think I'm gonna give it to the Rams. And like you said, it's not because if I look at the numbers and go granular, this is the reason why the Rams are going to win this game. I can't find that. But if there's a team that can beat them, that's one of them. Maybe the Bills is another one, and they play them later on in the season. And they play Dallas. I think Dallas has a sneaky chance of beating them later on too. But right now, I think I'm a rock with the Rams.
So I think of Rocky IV when I think of the Rams defense.
I'll stop that Rocky II.
They are not a machine, right? They are human. They don't look as intimidating as they did in years past, right? I think they're like 10 I think they're 10 overall. Against the run, they're a little bit more susceptible, right? And we always talk Tom Brady, but we don't talk about the fact that they got a couple stable horses in the backfield that can run the ball, right? And that opens up Tom Brady. And then you have, the Tom Brady Gronk chemistry where they could be at the line and just kind of glance at each other nonchalantly, and they know what they're thinking. They see the defense. Gronk, you do that, I'm throwing you the fucking ball. And like they could do that all day long. The flip side of that, I've seen that with Stafford and Cooper Kupp as well. In year one being together, those two look like they've been playing together for a decade. They're just in sync. The route running has been impeccable. He goes to the open spot. Stafford can drop it in, and it's been a thing of beauty to watch, right? So it's going to come back to the defenses. I give the Rams the nod in the defense. If they were going to lose a game, let's not forget that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Patriots at New England next week. So they got at the Rams and then at New England. It's not an easy fact. I don't think Tom loses to Belichick. I don't think he allows himself to lose to Belichick. So if there was ever a game they're going to lose, you mentioned the Bills later in the season, but I think it's here, right? Like I think it's here. I think this is the week that they possibly lose. And Tom is, he's not infallible. He's thrown picks in big games before in the regular season, mostly. So I think the defense makes a couple good plays for Los Angeles. I think they win the game outright.
Fuck the spread.
Fuck the spread.
My man.
So there's one other little side topic I kind of want to have in relation to this game. and it's going to focus specifically on the quarterbacks. I think it's pretty universally agreed that Tom Brady's top 3, if not the best quarterback of all time.
I'll
Right.
say he's the GOAT. I'll
Okay,
say it
like,
all
yeah.
day long. I don't care.
So my question is, though, when you compare him to Matt Stafford, I see a lot of the same intangibles in Matt Stafford that I see in Tom Brady: the leadership, the fire, the desire to win, the guy that will literally go that extra yard. And then you flip it to the stuff you can measure, the arm strength. You know, Tom probably wins in accuracy without having any kind of numbers in front of me. I guess what I'm saying at is when you just look at them up and down, has Tom just played on better teams? Like, I know we've kicked around the idea of like a what if podcast. What if Stafford had been on the Buccaneers and Tom Brady ended up on the Lions? You know, you kind of get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to say Stafford is an all-time great, and I just, is he that far behind Brady when you're comparing quarterbacks?
No.
I mean, he's played about half the time, and if you take Brady's total yards, he has more than half of Brady's total yards. So, you know, he's on. If he plays another 9
On
years,
significantly lesser teams.
yeah, significantly.
With lesser quality. Well, you can't take much away from
he had
Megatron, but
man. Come on.
the coaching,
Megatron's
there's a
been
lot
out
of factors
now.
that went into that. No running game. He was
Yeah.
forced to pass the ball. There's a lot of things that played into that.
And tough as nails, right? Like,
He played with a separated shoulder.
and dove into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Incredible. I don't think he plays as long as Tom does. So he's not going to get to that Breeze, Brady, Favre mountaintop. He's just not going to, right? From a total yard standpoint. But if you break down averages, he's right on pace.
If Stafford doesn't win a ring, he will be the modern version of Dan Marino.
Precisely.
So it's just kind of interesting because would you say Stafford's been, because he got buried on all those bad Lions teams? I mean, they went 0-16 one year with Stafford as the quarterback, right? Like, is Stafford overlooked maybe a little bit? Like, you know, like I just think about it, like how many times you talk about the top quarterbacks in the league and Stafford's even mentioned in the top 5. Is he in the top 5?
Let's have this conversation in week 5.
All right.
Still early yet. They're looking good right now.
Let's do it even better. Let's have this conversation when these two teams play in the playoffs, because they're going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
I'm going to guarantee that right now. That's a shoebox lock for me.
You heard it here first. Week 3.
Shoebox lock.
Wait a minute. So no, they're both NFC. Never mind. I was gonna say, so did we just get a Super Bowl prediction? But
No,
yeah,
just NFC prediction.
yeah, NFC prediction. I got you. NFC Championship game.
I'm not going to go that far. They're going to be in the playoffs.
All right, so we'll table that for now. I like. Side note, I really like Stafford. Like, he's probably one of my favorite non-Cleveland players that's ever been in the league.
Well, and going
always
back to
in the
fantasy, he's on like 5 of my teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I purposely, like, because I get him late in the draft, 8, 9, 10 rounds. You know,
Yeah.
like no one's even thinking about him.
Yeah. And that's why I wonder if he's often overlooked. Like, if you look at career numbers, I wonder, like, and I'm not talking all-time greats, just in the league right now, he's got to be top 6, right?
I don't know about that as far as, you know, active players, but if you go all time, he's 16 on total yards. He's probably going to wind up at 12 or 11 before the end of the season. Yeah, he's going to pass a few this year.
Yeah.
So,
All right, so we'll table that. We'll come back to that one. I feel like that's a way deeper conversation for a prediction pod. So we'll come back to that one maybe on when there's another. Well, next week for the when
for that barn burner next week
yeah,
on
the
Thursday night,
game of
we're going to do a
Bengals.
rapid fire on the barn burner
Right.
next week, and then we're going to spend the rest of the time doing a deep dive into Stafford.
So let's go ahead and kick it over to the game. I know Loy here is just itching to talk about Cowboys at Eagles. I think this goes a long way in telling us a lot about both teams because after the Cowboys, who I still think the Chargers lost that game more than the Cowboys won it, but that's splitting hairs at this point. Fact is, they won the game. And now suddenly they're back in the talks about being the favorite. I think the Eagles have an underrated defense, and I don't think the Cowboys have much of a defense at all. That being said, they did, with the help of like a absurd amount of penalties, they did hold the Chargers in check for the most part. The Cowboys are favored by 4 at home, and the over-under is 51.5. You know, this game's hard. If I was like legit betting, I'd stay away from this game because I'm still pretty high on Jalen Hurts, even after last week. Yeah, did he make a couple mistakes? Yes. But this is still what, game 6? It's game 7 for him.
Did he really make mistakes? Did he make the mistakes?
That's fair. I mean, yeah, the coach, okay, maybe you want to say the coach made a mistake. There were a couple of mistakes made. We'll put it that way. I'm still high on him. I still stand by what I said last week, where I said Jalen Hurts is ultimately going to be the quarterback that they want Lamar Jackson to be over there in Baltimore. And I didn't see anything last week to make me think that the Eagles are falling off. I think the Eagles are a dark horse team this year, like just based again on two weeks. They played the 49ers tough. They had a chance to win that game in the end. I think that game was closer than the final score looked. And then they hammered a team when a team they were obviously better than. Now the Cowboys do have a great offense. This will be probably the best test that the Eagles defense has faced so far. But the Cowboys, I see Jalen Hurts having another big game. I kind of feel the same way about this one that I felt heading into the Atlanta game. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think both teams are going to get into the 30s. And just because it's Monday night, there's that extra, sizzle to it. And you know what? Shit. Eagles win outright. I'll say 35-31.
Yeah. Division game. Say what you want about the NFC East, NFC least, the worst division in football. When it comes to division games in this division, they are dog fights. And they can go in either direction. It could be a ground and pound 14-13 victory, or it could be 38-35 and that's an overtime win. You just really don't know which direction it's going to go. The one thing that I think that Jalen Hurts is still a mystery for a lot of people. I've always thought Jalen Hurts was a pretty good quarterback. I really like the way he handled himself with the whole Carson Wentz fiasco, even with being pulled in the last game of last season for no apparent reason. I thought the kid handled himself remarkably. And I'm giving high praise to an Eagle, which is something that's rare. But I really like the kid. I think he's going to take the Eagles in the direction that they want to go. Everybody thought that they were going to be just in a complete rebuild struggle, might win 4-game mode at the start of the season or during the off season. But they was like, yeah, fuck that. We're a lot better than you people say we are. And they've always had a really good defense. They've always been good at rotating fresh players in and out of their line. And their offensive line remarkably has stood up pretty well this year. So, and then they got a real good running back committee back there. So I don't know that the Eagles are anything to sneeze at. I just don't think that. I think on the other side of the ball with the Cowboys, they're way too fucking inconsistent, man. They'll look good one week and look like dog shit the next week. And it really depends on how well Ezekiel Elliott is playing, because Dak can't carry the game every game. And that secondary is still not proven. I don't know if if they did enough in the offseason to bring that defense from historic lows that it showed last year to one that's at least average. Although their rookie corner is supposed to be, by PFF's grading, the highest rated corner in the league right now. I forget his name, but he's supposed to be playing pretty well. If I have to pick a team, and this is a tough one to pick, like Chris, if I was a betting man, I'd stay away from this game. But if I got to pick a team that I think can and will win, and another reason is the Eagles just play really well at night games. They just do. Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, they look pretty damn good. So I think the Eagles are going to win this game. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I don't think it's going to be an outright blowout because they just play each other so tough, but I'm going to give the nod to the Eagles.
So mark your calendars, folks, right? Like you've heard on this podcast, rivals kind of gush over the opposing quarterbacks a little bit, right? Like who would have thunk that? Mike Lloyd talking a little bit about Danny Dimes in a positive light.
But you nutted. I didn't. It's a difference.
But you licked that shit up. So, anyway, I'm going to go in a different direction. I wanted to stay away from last week's game just because I couldn't tell. And I really wanted to see what kind of team the Eagles had. And even though they lost, they held a pretty potent offense to 17 points. Eagles have the number 3 defense in the league right now. Granted, it's after 2 games, but they couldn't say that last year. The Dallas Cowboys have the number 15 defense, 30th against the pass, and that's apparently with, the number 1 rated rookie cornerback, 30th against the pass. Jalen Hurts is 6th in overall QBR. It's not playing bad. And they have a little bit of a running game. Where the Cowboys play well on defense is against the run. Where the Eagles don't play well is surprisingly, against the run. Like they're playing better defensively this year from a ranking standpoint against the pass, which who would have thunk that, it's funny how you get a change of coaches, add a linebacker. Eric Wilson, I think, is the perfect fit for the Eagles defense in the middle of that field, taking command, being able to make some plays. So it's a little bit different. And they're both kind of in the same boat. Dexter Lawrence is out. Brandon Graham is out, right? So which team has the better backup on their line to get that same pressure, to make the stops that need to be made? I think it's the Eagles, right? Let's not forget the Eagles picked up Kerrigan, right? Who might be only playing 10 to 15 snaps a game, but he's still a pretty formidable defensive end coming off the edge, right?
Yes, he is.
Josh Sweat has been playing phenomenally. I think the key is Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett needs to play out of his mind this game, right? The other key is Dallas needs to run the ball, right? That is historically how they rip the heart out of Eagle fans. Ezekiel Elliott, and I like watching him run when they give him the ball. Like Zeke in prime form, he doesn't go backwards. He always gets another 3, 4, 5 yards after getting hit. He's always got his momentum going forward. It pisses me off because it looks like they got him stopped, and then, oh, shit, there's a first down. Got an extra 5 yards falling. That's great. Does Dallas do that? I don't think so. I don't think they run the ball. Maybe it's Tony Pollard getting the ball, right? But I don't see that happening. I see the Eagles being able to stymie the run a little bit. Maybe a bend don't break mentality. But I see them win the game outright.
You mentioned QBR for Jalen Hurts. He's 5th. Do you know who is right behind him? A couple of spots down?
Daniel Jones.
And you know who's way down at the bottom of that list?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker, holding up the rear.
Well, to be fair, Baker Mayfield's 27th in usage. He's got league leading accuracy. I think he's
ahead of Ben Roethlisberger, though, if that makes you feel any better.
He does. He's tops in accuracy, which shocks me, right? Like I'm blown away by that.
Well, it's Baker's an anomaly this year, just so much that his stat he's 83. He's completed 83% of his pass. He's 11th or 12th in total yards, but he's 27th in usage. So it's a matter of he's just not throwing it nearly as much as other quarterbacks are.
Well, that's
But
because you have Chubb and Hunt in the backfield. Like, I mean,
right. I mean,
you
that
know,
team's built to run.
when you can run for 150 yards a game, you're not going to throw the ball.
Right. So yeah. Anyway.
Anyway,
So we all said
he's thanking Stefanski every chance he gets too.
Oh yeah, as long as they can keep those two running backs there, that's not a bad spot to be for Baker Mayfield. Because
not at all.
Baker Mayfield is, I'll say it, Trent Dilfer 2.0. He's got a game manager.
Dude, give your quarterback a little bit more credit than that, bro. Come on.
Well, that's why I said 2.0. I didn't say a clone. I said 2.0. He's an improved Trent Dilfer. He's got a great.
I think that's a little bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah.
To
I
Trent.
mean,
you really lowballed him there.
All right, fine. I don't know. That was the first one that popped in mind. I'll figure it out. I'll come back.
Honestly,
with
he's a poor man's Russell Wilson.
Better than Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield is not a bad quarterback. He's not going to lose your game. He'll actually have some great games and will probably be the reason you won a couple of games. Trent Dilfer was never the reason they won any games.
Well, I will say this though, with the way they play Baker is it's weird, like, because I don't see, like, they call him a gunslinger, like that's his mentality, but they treat him, the way they design the offense with him is as a game manager. Like I said, high accuracy, low usage rate, but he's still got good yards. I mean, I without looking at it, I'm gonna guess that most of his yards come to the tight ends, right? So I mean,
best post-game press conferences, best commercials. There's a couple of other factors that you're missing out.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm just looking at this objectively on the field, guys. The trash talks for the page is what I've been told. Let's go ahead and get that rapid fire out, Mike. Let's get those remaining games.
Oh, you caught me off guard. Let me get the scores up. I think that was a really good breakdown of our top 5 games of the week, though. Just want to say that. You know, I think we I mean, the proof being the pudding after the weekend, but I feel pretty confident with you know, our takes.
What we really do is we need to have like you keep saying, we need to get a producer that goes through and like keeps track of all this stuff and just see, because
puts graphics up too.
Yeah. Get some graphics. I mean, we got to post our videos for the graphics to matter, but that's another story.
Washington and the Bills. Bills.
Yeah.
Bills.
All right. We did that game. Ravens, Lions.
Ravens.
All day long. Colts, Titans.
I'm going to go Titans on this one.
I'm going to say Titans too. Yeah. I think Derrick Henry's just too much for the Colts.
He's going to have a big game.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just gonna get into it. Chargers, Chiefs.
So I said at I think it's Kansas City. They're going to be angry after losing in the last couple minutes to the Ravens. And I think at the beginning of the season, I said that the Chargers are a wild card team. Reason why they're a wild card team is because the Chiefs are the champions. So Chiefs.
Chargers
1-2. 1-2 for the Chiefs this year. The Chargers are going to win.
Ooh, I like it.
And that's not a bold prediction.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs, right? And I'm going to say the Chargers are going to be your best 1-2 team in the NFL. And watch out after that. Kind of reminiscent of how they started 0-2 one year and wound up 14-2. That did happen. Saints, Patriots.
And then he had another baby and messed it up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
You know, like number 11 came
Number 11.
Saints, Patriots. I'll just put it this way. I dropped MVP Jameis Winston off my team when I saw he was playing the Patriots. He turns the ball over 6 times at least. Patriots roll.
6 turnovers. I'm gonna say they're gonna at least have 2 turnovers as a team, minimal.
I got to step away for 1 minute, guys.
All right, minimal. Patriots win that game. Well, Lions sneaky bad though, sneaky bad.
Yeah,
It's
I think the Patriots
it's
win.
3.
I can't see a world where Jameis Winston beats Bill Belichick. I can't. Even after 20 and 2021, I can't see a world where Jameis Winston goes into Foxborough and beats Bill Belichick. So
I'm going to go with the Saints on this one. Reason why? James White is their leading receiver. That's horrible. That's horrible.
right.
You know, it shouldn't even be a stat, but it is. We did Falcons Giants, we did Bengals Steelers, Cards Jaguars. And I wanted to talk about the Cards this week until I saw that they were playing the Jags.
We'll talk about them next week. They win this week, so they'll be 3-0. So it'll give us a reason to talk about them next
You
week.
know, Kyler Murray's playing insane right now.
Yeah.
Like he's fantasy perspective, he's number 1. I mean, he's out of his mind. And
That defense is doing a lot better than I thought. That they're not really. I mean, I know they gave up some points to the Vikings last week, but that defense is clicking pretty well right now.
I picked them up for this week because they're playing the Jags.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, if Chandler Jones got 5 sacks against who they open up against? The Cardinals. They beat somebody. I don't know, but he had 5 sacks in week 1. He might have 6 against the Jags. Trevor Lawrence is in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I feel bad for the kid.
Welcome to
He's got a really good head on his shoulders. He's a good quarterback. He's just, he's got to get okay with losing because you're not going to win a whole lot this year.
It was the Titans, by the way. That's who they beat in week 1.
Yeah, which was a good,
there's
win for them.
There's stories of dysfunction coming out of the coaching staff and front office down there too right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Urban Meyer's going to end up at USC or some other program.
Maybe Eric Bieniemy finally gets a head coaching job in Jacksonville.
And he deserves it.
It's about damn time. Jets Broncos. Denver's getting 10.5, by the way.
They're getting 10 and the line is 41.5. That's weird. That's a low line for a 10-point favorite. I like I said in our last podcast, Jets aren't gonna have a serious chance of winning a game until they play the Texans in a couple weeks, I think it was, the Falcons. They play the Falcons in a couple weeks. That'll be the first time I might actually consider the Jets winning a game. Broncos all day.
How many picks will Zach Wilson have should be the bigger question, because we know the Broncos are going to win, right?
Yeah.
How many turnovers is he going to have?
So over under the spread. Total picks.
He's going to have 2. It could be a pick and a fumble, but he's going to turn the ball over twice.
So I'll take the under on the points just because I don't think the Jets are going to score much at all. And I don't think the Broncos are going to put up 45 or 42 points on their own. So
I think they cover the line. Teddy Bridgewater's almost averaging 300 yards a game. Melvin Gordon's rushing the ball pretty well. Cortland Sutton is playing lights out. And let's remind everybody, this is without Judy, right?
And it's at Mile High. Yeah.
Done.
Maybe who's the Jets backup? Maybe they should put him in for this game just to kind of ease up on Wilson a little bit.
Dolphins Raiders. Interesting game. Raiders. Are they for real?
I don't know if they're for real, but they're going to be.
Who was hurt?
They're going to be 3-0. I mean, they beat the Steelers. They beat the Ravens. And now they're going to beat the Dolphins. Those are all like
Jacoby
Ravens
Brissett starting this week, isn't he? for Tua.
That might be better.
Yeah, Tua's. I don't know about that kid. I had hopes for him, but he's shown me nothing.
That might be better for Miami.
The fact that they took Fitzpatrick out just to give the kid some playing time when Fitzpatrick was winning games for them.
You were in the
This kid
playoff
came
hunt.
in late, right? He came in late and egg looked horrible. I was like, oh,
Raiders all day.
yeah.
We did the Rams Bucks. Seattle Vikings. That's an interesting game.
It is. I'm not going against Russell though. I think he wants one bad.
So I will say this: the Vikings have a similar makeup to the Titans, that with maybe a slightly better defense, or at least a slightly better pass rush. I'll take the Vikings in the upset just because the Seahawks couldn't beat the Titans, and they got like all the calls in that game at home. So I'll take Vikings in the upset.
Yeah, I'm going Seahawks. Packers, Niners. Another good game.
Good game.
So this is the other game I wanted to talk about. I am going to, don't know if you can hear me, take the Niners, just because every time they seem to build this game up, Aaron Rodgers goes out to California. The whole Niners were my favorite team. They didn't draft me. They build this game up every year, and every year the Packers go out and lay an egg in San Francisco. Why they never have San Francisco in Green Bay, I don't know. But as long as they're going out to San Francisco, the Niners.
I'm taking Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in this one.
Me too. Me too. And I think it's different than Eagles Niners, right? Like we're not going to see a 17-11 ball game. We're going to see, high 20s, low 30s. Both sides.
Aaron Rodgers made last week look too easy.
Well, I will say this: the Packers defense is leaving a lot to be desired right now.
So, Lisa, we got your back, even though your man doesn't. And that's it, man.
She's probably. I think our food's here, so she's probably like throwing it on the ground and not letting me know. I don't even know if she can hear me, but
5-second rule, brother.
Right. I'm gonna need a 20-second rule. I'm sure she's stomping on it. Anyway, well, I think that's a good place to stop. I'm hungry. I need to go eat. Same bad time, same bad channel on Tuesday to wrap this up.
Tuesday, wrap it up. Enjoy the weekend, gentlemen.
All right, enjoy the games.